Thousands of geometric and animal shapes appear in the Peruvian desert. Scientists call them geoglyphs. But what are they? What is their purpose? Some say they are landing strips for extraterrestrials, and others say that they are a part of the cosmic calendar. For an archaeologist, the geoglyphs open the doors to dreams. This is a great challenge because it's an enigma that needs to be resolved. Who drew these gigantic figures, when, how, and why? Picture this: archaeologists trudging across the Nazca desert, sun-baked and dusty. Just another day mapping the area with ground-penetrating radar. Most days, nothing exciting. But today's different. Dr. Maria Sanchez squints at the radar screen. "Tom, look at this. Does that seem right to you?" Her colleague, Dr. Tom Chen, leans in. "That's odd. Never seen a reading like that before." The team gathers, puzzled. The radar is picking up something unusual. It does not match any known Nazca design. These folks have mapped plenty of geoglyphs, hummingbirds, monkeys, spiders. But this? It's something else entirely. As they continue scanning, the shape grows more complex. It's not a single figure, but an interconnected design sprawling across the desert floor. Their excitement builds. Could this be a new discovery? Dr. Sanchez turns to her team. "Let's start digging, carefully." Over the next few days, they meticulously uncover sections of the geoglyph. It's slow work, but with each revealed portion, their amazement grows. The lines interweave in intricate patterns, forming shapes within shapes. Some parts align with celestial bodies, others hint at complex mathematical concepts. As the sun sets one evening, Dr. Chen voices what they're all thinking. What if this changes everything we thought we knew about the Nazca culture? Dr. Sanchez nods. Or about ancient civilizations in general. The sophistication here, it's astounding. Theories start flying as word spreads. Is it an ancient calendar? A map of the cosmos? A representation of their gods? Or something beyond our modern comprehension? The team knows they've stumbled upon something extraordinary, something that could rewrite history books and challenge our understanding of ancient knowledge. But here's the thing, this discovery is just the beginning. As the team will soon find out, uncovering this geoglyph is only the start of a journey filled with unexpected twists, hidden dangers, and revelations that will shake the foundations of archaeology. Get ready, because this expedition into the heart of the Nazca Desert, it's about to take some wild turns. The game has changed completely. Our archaeologists are racing to decode an ancient mystery while struggling to save it from erasure, and the clock is ticking faster than anyone imagined. As word of the team's discovery spreads, excitement builds in the archaeological community. Dr. Sanchez and Dr. Chen field calls from colleagues worldwide, eager to learn about this unprecedented geoglyph. But amidst the scientific buzz, a storm brews. A powerful development company learns of the find. They've been planning a massive industrial complex on this desert patch, seeing it as an opportunity for jobs and economic growth. They're not keen on ancient drawings derailing their plans. Our team finds themselves caught between preservation and development. The developers argue that the region needs economic opportunities more than another protected site. They point to high unemployment rates and growth potential. Some local officials, enticed by promises of jobs and tax revenue, side with the developers. Construction plans accelerate. Bulldozers and equipment appear on the horizon, a stark reminder of the modern world encroaching on this ancient mystery. Our team works around the clock to document and protect the site. They map every inch, take thousands of photos and create 3D scans. But they've only scratched the surface of what this discovery could mean. Dr. Chen voices their fear. If we lose this site, we're losing a piece of human history we may never fully understand. The situation is getting tenser. Protesters from both sides are gathering. Preservationists argue for cultural heritage, while others demand jobs and progress. This is a microcosm of a global debate about balancing present needs with past preservation. A sympathetic judge issues a temporary injunction, buying precious time for our team to continue their research. It's not permanent, but it's a start. As the dust settles, our archaeologists know the real work is just beginning. They have a reprieve, but it's limited. Now they face an even greater challenge, decoding the meaning of this massive, intricate geoglyph before time runs out. What secrets does this ancient design hold? Will our team unlock them before progress erases them forever? The race is on, and the stakes are astronomical. As the sun rises over the Nazca desert, our team gets to work. They've temporarily escaped the bulldozers, but time is still ticking. Dr. Sanchez and Dr. Chen lead the careful excavation, their tools scraping gently against the ancient earth. At first, the team's optimism runs high, as it has worked with Nazca lines before. But as more of the geoglyph is revealed, that optimism turns to confusion. The symbols etched into the ground don't match anything in the known Nazca repertoire. Spirals within spirals, complex interlocking shapes, and what look like mathematical patterns emerge. Dr. Sanchez calls Dr. Lisa Wong, their resident expert on Nazca iconography. Lisa, have you ever seen anything like this before? Dr. Wong shakes her head, her brow furrowed. Never. This level of complexity is unprecedented. As the days pass, more of the massive design is revealed, and the mystery deepens. The precision of the lines is astounding, far beyond what was thought possible for the ancient Nazca people. Some team members start to joke about alien involvement, but the humor is tinged with genuine bewilderment. The experts brought in to consult are equally baffled. Mathematicians see patterns that hint at advanced geometric understanding, and astronomers note alignments with star systems, but no one can piece together the full picture. The team works tirelessly, documenting every inch of the geoglyph. They use drones for aerial photography and cutting-edge scanning technology to create 3D models. But even with all this data, the meaning remains elusive. Then, on a scorching afternoon, Dr. Sanchez makes a discovery that changes everything. As she's carefully brushing away sand from a section of the design, something catches her eye. It's not part of the geoglyph itself, but nestled within the lines. "Everyone, come here!" she calls out, her voice tinged with excitement. The team gathers around, peering at the ground. There, partially buried in the sand, is a tiny, intricately carved stone. As they look closer, they realize it's not alone. Scattered throughout the lines of the geoglyph are dozens, perhaps hundreds, of these miniature artifacts. "These aren't natural to the area," Dr. Wong says, carefully examining one of the stones. "They were placed here deliberately." The implications are staggering. These stones might be the key to unlocking the geoglyph's secrets. But as the team begins to collect and study them, they realize they've stumbled upon an even deeper mystery, one that could challenge everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. What will these tiny carved stones reveal? And how will they change our understanding of the Nazca people and their incredible creations? The answers might be within reach, but they're sure to lead to even more questions. Those tiny carved stones are unraveling this mystery. As the team pieces them together, an intriguing theory emerges that challenges our understanding of ancient civilizations. But not everyone is on board. What if these seemingly simple artifacts are more complex than we thought? The analysis reveals something unexpected. These stones are completely foreign to the area. Dr. Wong's initial hunch was spot on. They were deliberately placed here. But where did they come from, and why? As the team examines the stones more closely, a heated debate erupts. Dr. Chen holds one up to the light, his eyes wide. Look at the precision of these carvings, the symmetry. This isn't just decorative, it's purposeful. Some team members start throwing around theories that would make even open-minded archaeologists raise an eyebrow. The camp buzzes with speculation about the Nazca people's capabilities. Dr. Wong urges caution. Let's not jump to conclusions. We know the Nazca were skilled craftsmen, but we need solid evidence before making extraordinary claims. These could be ritual objects or decorative pieces. The skeptics have a point. Everything we know about Nazca culture points to a people skilled in ceramics, textiles, and large-scale earth art. But history is full of surprises. As the debate continues, something interesting happens. Team members notice similarities between certain stones. It's subtle at first, a curve here, a notch there. But as they group them together, a pattern emerges. Dr. Chen's hands shake slightly as he fits two pieces together. They click into place with surprising precision. "This can't be a coincidence," he mutters. Over the next few hours, the team works feverishly, fitting stone after stone together like a complex 3D puzzle. As the structure grows, so does the tension in the air. This is no random collection of artifacts. These stones were meant to fit together. Finally, as the sun sets over the desert, casting long shadows across their workstation, they step back to look at their creation. It's not complete. Many pieces are still missing. But what they see leaves them speechless. The assembled stones form a structure that's both beautiful and baffling. It's clearly engineered, with interlocking parts that suggest movement and purpose. But what that purpose might be is still a mystery. Dr. Sanchez breaks the stunned silence. This changes our understanding of Nazca craftsmanship and engineering. Dr. Wong nods slowly, her skepticism giving way to wonder. The question is, what else might we discover as we continue to investigate? As night falls over the desert, the team faces a new challenge. They've assembled part of the puzzle, but what happens when they try to understand its function? The answers might be just around the corner, but they could open up a whole new set of questions, and maybe even implications, that none of them are prepared for. The archaeological team thought assembling the ancient device was challenging, but now, as darkness falls over the Nazca desert, they're about to discover that some puzzles come with unexpected consequences. With the deadline looming, the team works into the night. Floodlights cast eerie shadows across the site as they document every detail. There's a growing tension in the air, a feeling that they're not alone in this vast expanse. At first it's subtle. A worker shivers, despite the warm night. Another glimpses movement where there should be none. Most brush it off as fatigue, but then things get stranger. Equipment malfunctions at an alarming rate. Cameras blur, batteries drain instantly, and their radar gives impossible readings. Dr. Chen stares at a screen of static. "I've never seen interference like this," he mutters. Team members report unsettling dreams. Dr. Sanchez describes an ancient ritual to Dr. Wong, who goes pale. "Wait, did your dream have a stone altar and bird masks?" They're not alone. Others share the same vivid visions, all centered on the device they're assembling. The atmosphere grows oppressive. Some refuse to work after dark. Others hear whispers in unknown languages. Even skeptics find themselves on edge, sensing they've stumbled into something beyond their understanding. As debate rages about whether to continue, an elderly local shaman arrives. He warns Dr. Sanchez through a translator. "You have disturbed something ancient and powerful. The spirits demand respect." The team faces a crucial choice. Do they heed the warning and abandon their discovery? Or press on, risking the consequences of unlocking long-dormant secrets? Whatever they decide, it's clear their journey has taken an unexpected turn. They've crossed a threshold where science and the supernatural blur, and the true cost of their discovery remains to be seen. The Nazca Desert had one more surprise up its sleeve, and it was a big one. Our team of archaeologists thought they'd seen it all, but they were about to be proven wrong in a spectacular way. As they expanded their survey area, something incredible started to emerge. The geoglyph they discovered wasn't just big, it was massive, way bigger than anyone could have imagined. The design stretched far beyond their initial excavation site, disappearing under roads and buildings. The team worked frantically, processing data and negotiating access to nearby lands. They knew they were in a race against time, with construction plans looming over their heads. But as more of the pattern came into focus, excitement rippled through the camp. This wasn't just some random collection of lines. There was a rhythm to it, a balance. And then it hit them. What they were looking at wasn't just a geoglyph, it was a mandala. An enormous, intricate mandala etched into the very earth itself. The implications were staggering. Mandalas are deeply spiritual symbols, often representing the universe in Hindu and Buddhist traditions. But what was a design like this doing in ancient Peru? And how did the Nazca people create something so massive and precise without being able to see it from above? As the team stared at the completed map, a mix of awe and new questions filled the air. They'd uncovered something extraordinary, a testament to the ingenuity and vision of an ancient culture. But the biggest question remained unanswered. Why? What was the purpose of this colossal mandala hidden for centuries in the Nazca Desert? The discovery opened up a whole new realm of possibilities. Could this be connected to ancient astronomical knowledge? Was it part of some massive ritual, or did it hint at a level of technological advancement we never imagined possible in the ancient world? One thing's for sure, the mystery of the Nazca lines just got a whole lot deeper, and our team of archaeologists, they're more determined than ever to uncover the truth, no matter where it leads them. Dr. Amelia Rodriguez, the team's astronomer, steps outside for a break, gazing at the star-studded sky. Suddenly, a realization hits her. She rushes back to the tent, pulling up the latest mandala image on her tablet. Her eyes dart between the screen and the night sky, a wild theory forming. "Guys, you need to see this," she calls out, excitement in her voice. The team gathers around as Dr. Rodriguez points to a section of the mandala, then up at a constellation. "Look at this pattern here. Now look at those stars. They're identical." Dr. Chen's eyes widen. "But that could be a coincidence, right?" "Maybe," Dr. Rodriguez nods. "But what if this entire mandala is some kind of star map?" The idea spreads through the team like wildfire. They spring into action, bringing out astronomical equipment. Telescopes are set up, star charts unfurled, and laptops hum with software. As dawn breaks, the evidence is undeniable. Section after section of the mandala corresponds to star patterns. "This is incredible," Dr. Sanchez breathes, staring at the overlaid images. "The level of precision. How could they have done this?" Dr. Wong shakes her head in amazement. "Remember what Paul Kosok said about the Nazca lines being the largest astronomy book in the world? He might have been more right than he knew." The team debates the implications. Some argue it must be coincidental, while others point out that many ancient cultures possessed sophisticated astronomical knowledge. What if, Dr. Rodriguez suggests, this shows a specific star configuration from the past? The idea sends a shiver through the group. If true, it could provide a precise date for the mandala's creation. But it also raises more questions. Why create such an enormous celestial chart? Was it for religious purposes, navigation, or something we haven't even considered? As the team prepares to dive into this new line of inquiry, one thing is clear. The Nazca lines have just gotten a whole lot more mysterious. And if this mandala really is an ancient star map, who knows what other secrets it might reveal about our ancestors and their understanding of the cosmos? The stars above told one story, but the desert floor whispered another. As Dr. Rodriguez's team examined their astronomical findings, Dr. Chen noticed something odd about the geoglyphs. "Guys," she said quietly, "I think people walked these lines. A lot of people." The team gathered around, squinting at the ground. There were faint but unmistakable signs of wear within the lines of the mandala. These were the traces of countless footsteps. But why? Dr. Sanchez wondered. Why would people walk these massive patterns? As they dug deeper, the mystery grew. They uncovered a treasure trove of artifacts scattered throughout the site. Pottery shards, bits of textiles, and what looked like ceremonial objects. Some team members even found traces of what might be ancient incense. "We need to carbon date these," Dr. Wong said, carefully bagging a piece of charred material. "If we can establish a timeline, we might figure out how long these activities were taking place." The results were staggering. The site showed evidence of repeated use over centuries, from around 500 BC to 500 AD, 1,000 years of people coming to this exact spot and walking these intricate patterns. "Okay, so we know they were here," Dr. Chen said, pacing. "But what were they doing? What kind of ceremony requires a stage visible from space?" The team proposed theories. Some suggested it might relate to agricultural cycles, marking the seasons. Others wondered if it was a pilgrimage, with different parts of the mandala representing stages of a spiritual journey. Dr. Rodriguez had another idea. What if the activities were tied to celestial events? We know the mandala maps to star patterns. Maybe people walked specific paths when certain stars aligned. It was compelling, and as they examined the evidence, more pieces fit together. The pottery fragments showed symbols matching constellations. Some textile remnants had patterns mirroring sections of the mandala. "This is incredible," Dr. Sanchez said, looking over the vast geoglyph. "We're seeing the stage for an enormous, complex ceremony that played out over centuries." The implications were mind-boggling. These ancient people integrated celestial knowledge into massive physical activities. But why? What were they trying to achieve? As the sun set over the desert, casting long shadows across the ancient lines, the team realized they were on the verge of something big. They had uncovered evidence of practices more complex and enduring than they'd imagined. But understanding them, that would take more than just digging in the sand. "You know," Dr. Chen said slowly, "if we really want to understand this, maybe we need to do more than just study it. Maybe we need to recreate it." The team exchanged glances, mixing excitement and apprehension. Could they really bring an ancient ceremony back to life? And if they did, what secrets might it reveal about the true purpose of this massive desert mandala? As the team prepared for their ambitious reenactment, fate threw them an unexpected curveball. A local museum curator reached out with news that would change everything. Was it the breakthrough they needed, or a carefully crafted deception? Dr. Sanchez's phone buzzed with an urgent message. "You need to see this," it read, followed by an image that made her heart skip a beat. She called the team together, her voice tight with excitement and a hint of skepticism. The image showed a fragment of ancient textile, its colors still vibrant despite its age. Interwoven into the fabric was a pattern eerily similar to sections of their massive desert mandala. The same intricate spirals, the same mathematical precision. It was like looking at a miniature version of their geoglyph, frozen in time. The textile fragment had been in the backroom of a small local museum for decades. It was part of a collection of Paracas culture artifacts that predated the Nazca civilization. An elderly curator named Juan stumbled across it while reorganizing the storage area. "This could provide crucial context for interpreting the mandala," Dr. Wong said, studying the image intently. but they knew the risks of getting excited over potential archaeological breakthroughs. The world of ancient artifacts was full of elaborate hoaxes and misidentified objects. The team decided to examine it in person, and quickly, as their time was running out. The next day, Juan arrived at the site with the sealed container. As he unwrapped the textile fragment, the team held their breath. Dr. Wong, their textile expert, began a careful examination. She checked the weave, the dyes, the patterns. "The craftsmanship is incredible," she murmured, "consistent with what we know of Paracas textiles." The debate raged late into the night. Was this the missing piece they'd been searching for, or an elaborate forgery? Some team members pointed out the incredible coincidence of finding such a relevant artifact just when they needed it most. Others argued that many archaeological breakthroughs came from unexpected places. As dawn broke over the desert, Dr. Sanchez made a decision. We need to test it. Carbon dating, fiber analysis, the works. The results came back faster than anyone expected, thanks to some expedited processing. The verdict? The textile was real, dating back to around 500 BC. It was older than the Nazca lines themselves. "So what does this mean?" Dr. Chen asked, staring at the test results. Dr. Wong's eyes gleamed. "It means we've been looking at this all wrong. The mandala is part of a tradition that stretches back even further. This textile, it's like a blueprint, a guide for the massive earthworks that came later." The team gathered around the fragment, seeing it with new eyes. Elements of the mandala that had puzzled them for weeks began to make sense. The textile provided context, showing how certain symbols related to each other, hinting at their meaning. But as excitement rippled through the camp, a sobering thought hit them. They finally had a crucial piece of the puzzle, but time was running out. The developers were getting impatient, and their temporary injunction was nearing its end. Dr. Sanchez looked out over the massive geoglyph, then back at the tiny textile fragment. "We've got the key," she said. "Now we just need to figure out how to use it before it's too late." With time running out and a potential breakthrough imminent, the team faced a tough choice: recreate an ancient ritual or play it safe. The debate continued late into the night. Some saw it as their scientific duty, while others worried about cultural respect. Dr. Sanchez paced back and forth. "I get it. But this might be our only shot. Even part of the ritual could unlock the mandala's secrets." Not everyone agreed. Dr. Wong shook her head. "We're archaeologists, not shamans. It feels wrong." A few team members stepped back, citing cultural concerns. Valid points, but the clock was ticking. They moved forward, using the textile fragment as a guide and filling gaps with educated guesses. This was part science, part imagination, and a whole lot of hope. Then things got complicated. Word leaked to local officials, and the next thing you know, a guy in a suit threatens to shut it all down. "This is protected cultural heritage," he said, looking annoyed. "We can't have people performing made-up rituals." Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Give up their best lead, or risk losing site access completely. Dr. Chen stepped in with a compromise. What if we scaled down? A smaller version, purely for research. We'll document everything and share findings with local authorities. The official wasn't thrilled, but he saw the scientific value. After some back and forth, they reached an agreement. A limited ritual under strict supervision. Not ideal, but workable. As the team regrouped, excitement mixed with nerves. They were about to bridge centuries, connecting with an ancient tradition through modern science. Dr. Sanchez looked out over the massive mandala. "Well," she said with a hint of a smile, "we're in for quite a night." The stage was set. All that remained was to see what secrets the desert might reveal when ancient practices met cutting-edge research. One thing was certain: it would be unforgettable. Do you know how sometimes the air feels different, like it's charged with something you can't quite explain? Well, as the team began their recreated ritual, the atmosphere around the Nazca line started doing things that modern science says it shouldn't. The team gathered at the site on the night they'd calculated based on the celestial alignments. At first, it felt a bit silly. Here they were, a bunch of academics shuffling around in the dark, trying to follow patterns etched into the ground centuries ago. Dr. Chen kept checking his notes, making sure they were hitting all the right points in the mandala. After about an hour, the air started to feel heavy, like the moments before a thunderstorm, but without a cloud in the sky. As they continued tracing the ancient paths, Dr. Rodriguez saw faint trails of light following their footsteps. Others felt dizzy or experienced a sense of euphoria. The equipment they'd set up to monitor the experiment started going haywire. Electromagnetic sensors spiked off the charts, came, and cameras read odd flares of light that shouldn't have been there. Now let's be clear, we're talking about a team of highly trained scientists here. Aren't folks prone to flights of fancy or seeing things that aren't there? But as the night wore on, even the most skeptical among them had to admit that something unusual was happening. "It's like the whole site is vibrating," Dr. Chen said, his voice filled with a mix of excitement and disbelief. "Can you feel it?" They could. It was as if the very ground beneath their feet had come alive, pulsing with an energy they couldn't see but could definitely sense. And then, just as they completed the final loop of the mandala, it happened. For a brief moment, so brief that later some would question if they'd really seen it, the entire geoglyph lit up. This was an internal glow, as if the lines themselves had become channels for some kind of energy. The glow faded as quickly as it appeared, leaving the team standing in stunned silence under the star-filled sky. Did that just happen?" Dr. Sanchez asked, her voice barely above a whisper. It had. Now they were left with a mountain of questions. What exactly had they tapped into? Had the ancient Nazca people discovered some kind of natural phenomenon, or had they accidentally stumbled upon something that defied current scientific understanding? One thing was certain: their understanding of the Nazca lines, and perhaps of ancient knowledge in general, had just been rewritten. The team packed up their equipment. Still buzzing with a mix of excitement and disbelief, they knew that explaining this to the wider scientific community was going to be interesting, to say the least. As the team gathered to discuss the night's events, something strange began to unfold. Members started sharing vivid experiences that went beyond the unusual phenomena they'd witnessed during the ritual. These weren't just random hallucinations. They were detailed, interconnected visions that painted a complex picture of ancient Nazca life. Dr. Chen described seeing hundreds of Nazca people walking the lines, while Dr. Sanchez witnessed elaborate ceremonies around the mandala. Dr. Rodriguez reported astronomical observations using unfamiliar tools. As they compared notes, patterns emerged. Details from one person's vision matched up with another's in ways that seemed too specific to be coincidence. Here's where it gets really interesting. Some of these details were things that nobody on the team should have known. Dr. Wong, initially skeptical, found herself puzzled by descriptions of Nazca daily life that matched recent unpublished archaeological findings. But it wasn't just historical accuracy that caught their attention. Some visions included elements that seemed out of place. Dr. Chen saw metal tools being used to construct the lines, and Dr. Sanchez spotted something resembling a modern surveying instrument. These anachronisms raised even more questions about the nature of their shared experience. As dawn broke over the desert, a consistent narrative began to take shape. The combined visions revealed a Nazca culture deeply connected to the stars, using the vast desert canvas to track celestial movements over centuries. They glimpsed rituals bridging earth and sky, physical and spiritual realms. Tantalizing hints of advanced knowledge surfaced, suggesting the Nazca people possessed insights far ahead of their time. The team sat in stunned silence as they realized the implications. If these visions were real, and that was still a big if, they might have just uncovered the true purpose of the Nazca lines. It was a purpose far more complex and profound than anyone had imagined, but as the excitement of discovery settled, a new challenge loomed. How were they going to present this to the scientific community? Shared visions and energy fields weren't exactly standard fare in archaeological journals. They had stumbled upon something incredible, but proving it would be a whole other adventure. The debate raged on. Were these genuine glimpses into the past somehow preserved in the energy of the site? Or were their minds filling in gaps with a mix of subconscious knowledge and wild speculation? Whatever the truth, one thing was clear: their understanding of the Nazca lines would never be the same. The scientific community's understanding of the Nazca lines was about to be shaken to its core. Our team's findings didn't just add a footnote to existing theories, they rewrote the entire narrative. We gathered all our data, the excavation results, the ritual experience, those shared visions, and laid it all out. At first, it looked like chaos. But then patterns started emerging, and we found ourselves staring at something truly groundbreaking. What if the Nazca lines were part of an incredibly sophisticated system for tracking celestial cycles, not just the usual seasons or solar years, but massive, long-term cycles that play out over centuries or even millennia? We're talking about a level of astronomical knowledge that most people assume ancient cultures simply didn't possess. The mandala design, the star alignments, the ritual that seemed to tap into some kind of cosmic energy, it all started to make a wild kind of sense. But why would the Nazca people need this kind of long-term celestial tracking? That's when it hit us. What if it was crucial for their survival? The Nazca civilization thrived in one of the driest places on Earth. Could these massive geoglyphs have been part of a system to predict long-term climate patterns, changes that might bring rare but vital rainfalls or warn of extended droughts? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi novel, but remember what Paul Kosuk said about the Nazca lines being the largest astronomy book in the world. He might have been more right than he knew. Ancient people with that kind of advanced knowledge, it's a pretty out-there idea, I'll give you that. But many ancient cultures, from the Maya to the Egyptians, had some seriously impressive astronomical know-how. The Nazca people might have been tracking cosmic cycles to ensure their very survival. This discovery got us thinking, what if the Nazca lines aren't unique? What if there are other sites around the world with similar purposes, just waiting to be understood? We might be uncovering a whole new way of understanding ancient cultures and their relationship with the cosmos. But now that we've stumbled onto this knowledge, how do we protect it? We're talking about a potential key to understanding our ancestors' profound connection to the stars and the cycles of our planet. In a world where ancient sites are constantly under threat, that's a pretty big responsibility. So yeah, we might have just rewritten the book on the Nazca lines. But something tells me this story is far from over. The question is, where do we go from here? The reality of our situation hit hard as the developer's deadline loomed. We kicked into high gear, documenting every inch of the site. Drones and ground-penetrating radar worked non-stop, generating massive amounts of data. However, our discoveries had leaked to the media, thrusting us into the spotlight. While some hailed them as the archaeological find of the century, others were less impressed. Our theories about ancient astronomical knowledge and energy fields faced accusations of pseudoscience and cultural appropriation. It was chaos. One day we were making discoveries, and the next we were defending our work on national TV. Behind the scenes, we were locked in negotiations with developers and government officials. Picture exhausted archaeologists facing off against corporate lawyers. The clock ticked relentlessly. Would this priceless piece of history be saved or bulldozed for an industrial complex? After marathon sessions fueled by too much coffee, we reached a compromise. The developers agreed to protect key areas of the geoglyph, including the central mandala. We had to give up some outlying areas, but the heart of the site was safe. But here's the thing, compromises are tricky. We saved the most important parts, but what about future research? Those less important areas might hold crucial clues we haven't even considered yet. And what precedent does this set? Will every archaeological discovery turn into a negotiation with developers? We won this battle. The Nazca mandala and its secrets are safe for now. But the fight to preserve our planet's ancient heritage, that's far from over. Something tells me our adventure in the Peruvian desert is just the beginning. Our victory in Peru sparked a global firestorm of controversy and fascination. As news of our discoveries spread, the world's reaction left us speechless. The Nazca mandala hit the headlines, and suddenly everyone had an opinion. The debate raged on social media, in academic journals, and on late-night talk shows. We went from careful scientists to either visionaries or crackpots overnight, depending on who you asked. But this attention wasn't just noise, it had real effects. Researchers worldwide started looking at ancient sites with fresh eyes. A team in Egypt found new patterns in the pyramid arrangements, and archaeologists in Mexico re-examined Mayan ruins for astronomical alignments. Our discovery gave everyone permission to think big. Of course, not all the attention was helpful. New Age groups latched onto our findings, and conspiracy theorists had a field day. You'd think we'd uncovered proof of ancient aliens. This excitement changed people's perceptions of archaeology. Museums reported surges in visitors, and universities saw spikes in applications to archaeology programs. But the real game changer was funding. Governments, private donors, and big tech companies wanted a piece of the action, so new research projects were greenlit all the time. We found ourselves at the center of a whirlwind, defending our findings to skeptical colleagues one minute and advising on multi-million-dollar research initiatives the next. It was exciting, overwhelming, and more than a little surreal. As the dust settled, we couldn't help but wonder, what else is out there? If the Nazca lines had hidden such profound secrets for so long, what other mysteries might be waiting to be uncovered? The Nazca mandala had opened a door that couldn't be closed. The world was looking at its ancient heritage with new eyes, full of curiosity and wonder. And us? We were just getting started. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that the greatest discoveries often come when you least expect them. As we gathered around the campfire on our last night in Peru, the mood was a mix of excitement and uncertainty. We'd uncovered secrets hidden for centuries, but it felt like we'd only scratched the surface of something much bigger. Dr. Sanchez captured our thoughts perfectly. "We've solved one piece of a 1,000-piece puzzle," she said, gazing into the flames. "Now we can see how much of the picture we're still missing." The Nazca mandala had opened up a world of questions. Why this location? Why this specific design? And if the Nazca people could create something so complex, what else were they capable of? Then Dr. Chen sparked a new line of thinking. What if there are sites like this all over the world, waiting to be understood? Suddenly, we were connecting dots we hadn't even realized were there. The astronomical alignments at Stonehenge, the precise geometry of the Egyptian pyramids, and the mysterious lines in the Atacama Desert in Chile. Could they all be part of some ancient global network? It sounds wild, right? But after what we'd seen in Nazca, we weren't dismissing any possibilities. As the night progressed, plans started forming. Dr. Rodriguez was already planning collaborations with astronomers to study other ancient sites. Dr. Wong wanted to explore textile connections, reaching out to experts in Peru and beyond. I couldn't stop thinking about what else might be hiding in the Nazca Desert. What secrets were the other lines still keeping? By morning, we'd made a decision. This wasn't just about Nazca anymore. We were embarking on something much bigger. We were going to keep questioning, keep pushing the boundaries of what we thought we knew about ancient cultures. It wasn't going to be easy. We'd face more skeptics, more funding battles, maybe even more unexplained phenomena. But we were committed to seeing it through. As we packed up our gear, Dr. Sanchez gathered us all together. Whatever it costs, whatever it takes, we're seeing this through. The world needs to know what's hidden here. We all nodded, feeling the weight of that commitment. We were now guardians of a mystery that spanned millennia, and possibly the globe. As our vehicles pulled away from the Nazca Desert, I wondered what other wonders were out there, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to ask the right questions. The Nazca lines challenge our understanding of ancient civilizations. They are not just drawings in the sand, but a window into our ancestors' sophisticated knowledge and skills. For years, we've assumed we knew everything about the past. But what if there's a whole world of ancient wisdom waiting to be uncovered? It's like we've been seeing the world through a tiny crack, and now that crack is widening. Here's a thought. What if the Nazca lines are just the beginning? What other incredible secrets might be hiding right under our noses? Next time you're out, take a closer look at your surroundings. You never know. You might stumble onto something that changes everything we thought we knew about history.